Hey guys, it's Miss Phelps. Today we're doing lesson 4.2, Slope of a Line. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to say, I can find the slope of a line. Alright, slope. We're going to define this as the rise over the run. So if we have xy coordinates, our x tells us to move left and right, our y tells us to move up and down. So our rise correlates to the y, and running is side to side, so that's the x. So rise over run means y over x. We're talking about the change in the y and the x. So looking at these four graphs right here, we always start on the left side. So if we start over here, we need to determine if we're going up or if we're going down. If we're going up, that means we are going to have a positive slope. If we are going down, the slope will be negative. If we're not going up or down, we're just going side to side, then the slope is 0. And you cannot walk up a wall. So, undefined slope right here. Which lines have negative slopes? Remember, negative means that you're going down. So looking at these, we have this line and this line that are going down. So A and C have negative slopes. Which line has the steepest slope? If you're walking up a hill that is like this, that's not very steep. If you're walking up a mountain like this, that's super steep. So looking at this graph right here, B is the steepest. Are any two of the lines parallel? It looks like C and A are parallel. They're both negative. They're both going down, so that's good. And it looks like they're the same distance away from each other. Another way to think of it is parallel lines have the same slope. So A and C are parallel. Draw a line through each point using the given slope. What do you notice about the two lines? So remember, slope is the rise over the run, which is the same thing as saying y over x. So we're going to start at this point right here. And we're going to rise 1, and then we're going to run 2. So if we go over 2 from that point, now we've got a point like this. If we want to make our line longer, we do it again. Rise 1, run 2, rise 1, run 2. So we're going to get a line that looks like this. And we'll do the same thing right here. But rise 1 over 2 is off the graph, so we can go backwards. Down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, and down 1 over 2. We just need to make sure that this is positive, so this line is going up. Wow, it's just getting worse. Okay. So in order to put it into the format of rise over run, we need to know what -2 looks like as a fraction. So we'll just put it over 1. And this is a negative slope, so we need to make sure that instead of rising, we're going down. So right here, we're going to go down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1, and our line will continue to look like that. And then we'll do the same thing right here. Down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. So these are negative slopes. And because these two lines have the same slope, they are parallel. Find the slope of the line. So this line is already graphed. We need to be able to determine what the slope is. So all you do is you look at these 2 points that they have on there, and remember, slope is rise over run. So we need to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and run 1, 2, 3, 4. This can be simplified if we divide both of them by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Alright, so 3 over 2 is our slope for this line, which means if we go up 3 and over 2, we'll also have a point right here. Alright, this one, just looking at this line, we know that our slope is going to be negative because the line is going down. So we are going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are going to run 1, 2, 3, 4. And negative 4 over 4 can be simplified to negative 1. And there's always an imaginary 1 under here, so we know that we're going down 1 over 1. And yes, there is a point right here. So the slope of this line is negative 1. This line is also going down, so it's negative. From this point to this point, we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 2, which can be simplified to negative 2. This line right here, okay, rise over run. We are not even rising, so it's going to be 0 on the top. We're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This can be simplified. 0 divided by 5 is 0. So we know that if we have a flat line, a horizontal line, that the slope is always going to be 0. Okay, looking at slopes from a table, we need to find out our pattern here. So from here to here, we are adding 3. From here to here, we're adding 3. And from 2 to 5, we're adding 3. 0 to 2, we're adding 2, adding 2, adding 2. So remember, rise over run is the same thing as y over x. So we'll do our y over x, because this is 2. So we know that it's going to be 3 over 2. This one is a little trickier. So we'll do our y's first. So from 7 to 4 is negative 3. 4 to 3 is negative 1, and 3 to 0 is negative 3. Right here, we are adding 3, adding 1, and adding 3. So we need to look at this change and compare it with this change and this change. So y over x, we'll do this first pair. We have a change of negative 3 over 3. This one we have negative 1 over 1, and this one again we have negative 3 over 3. If we simplify all of these, we will get negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1, negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1, and this one is also negative 1. Because these all boil down to the same number, we know that our slope is negative 1. Alright, rise over run from here to here. We're rising 1, 2, 3, and we're running over 2. And this cannot be simplified, so that's your slope. We're gonna, and this is positive. This one is also positive because we're going up. You're gonna rise 1, and you're gonna run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since there's a 1 on the top, we know that it's already simplified. This line's going down, so it's negative. and you are going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and running 1, 2. Right here, this is a positive slope, and we're not even on the lines here, so we can just look at the numbers just like we did these numbers here on the table. So we know that we're comparing y over x. So let's look at our y's and what happened. From 1 to 3, we went up 2. From -5 to +5, we went up 10. So this can be simplified to 1 over 5. This is up 1, which is in the middle of this line, and then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there you go. Find the slope of the line through the given points. So we're going to do exactly what we did with this one. We're going to compare the numbers here. So 4 to -4. Start here. And how'd you get there? How'd you get from 4 to -4? You subtracted 8. How did you get from 1 to -1? You subtracted 2. And that simplifies to +4. So that's your slope of this line right here. Right here, we've got, how'd you get from 2 to 2? You didn't move, so it's 0. 1 to -3. We went down 4. 0 divided by any number is 0, so that's your slope for this line. How'd you get from 4 to 2? You subtracted 2. How did you get from 7 to 10? You added 3. How did you get from 6 to 2? You subtracted 4. From -3 to -1, you added 2, which simplifies to -2. A ramp used to remove furniture from a moving truck has a slope of 2/5. So 2/5 is the slope of a ramp. So this is what a ramp looks like, kind of. The height of the ramp is 4 feet. How far does the base of the ramp extend from the end of the truck? So what is the length of this base? Basically, we know that rise over run creates a triangle. So rising 2, because our rise is on the top, rise 2 and run 5, right? Rise 2, run 5. And it creates this little triangle right here. And we need to compare it to this triangle. So if we know that 5 is the base, we need to compare it to x. So 5 goes to x on the other triangle. And our 2 correlates to the 4 on the left triangle. So now we do the butterfly to find out what x is. We cross multiply and then divide by this guy. So 5 times 4 is 20, and then divide by 2 is 10. So we know that our x is 10. Another way to look at it is 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 2 is 10. So we're basically doubling this triangle to get to this one. So x equals 10.